On June 6, 1944, thousands of American infantry soldiers stepped out of their landing craft onto the shores of Normandy. They weren't just carrying bravery with them, they carried the equipment that could mean the difference between life and death. In this video, we'll take a detailed look at the full D-Day loadout of a USGI, revealing every piece of gear brought into the largest amphibious invasion ever launched. From weapons and food supplies to the smallest tools, here's exactly what a soldier carried onto the beaches of Normandy. The M1911 .45 caliber pistol was a dependable sidearm commonly carried by NCOs, officers, and assault troops during D-Day. Known for its strong stopping power, durability, and solid steel build, it became a highly trusted backup weapon in close-quarters fighting. Folded map sections of the Normandy coastline were issued to infantrymen to help them navigate during the confusion of the D-Day landings. Printed on thin, waterproof paper, these maps helped guide soldiers across beaches, hedgerows, and inland objectives. The M1 steel helmet, often nicknamed the Steel Pot, weighed about 3 pounds and was one of the most recognizable pieces of GI gear. The attached netting wasn't just decorative, it reduced sunlight glare and allowed soldiers to tuck in local vegetation for camouflage. The M1941 field jacket became a signature look of early U.S. forces in the war. This lightweight olive-drab jacket looked sharp, but many soldiers complained that it didn't provide enough warmth or protection against the harsh and wet European climate. The M1937 wool trousers, made from thick olive-drab wool, served as the backbone of the uniform. Though often itchy, they had one major advantage. They kept soldiers warm even when soaked by the cold waters of the English Channel. Under the jacket, soldiers wore the M1937 wool shirt. This mustard-colored wool layer helped provide essential insulation during the damp and chilly mornings in France. Type 2 service shoes were ankle-high leather boots designed for long marches. By 1944, many of these boots were made with rough-out leather and treated with waterproofing compounds to help keep moisture out. Before combat boots became common, soldiers wore M1938 canvas leggings. These were tightly laced around the lower leg to protect the ankles and prevent dirt or stones from getting inside the shoes, although they could be frustrating to put on quickly. The M1 Garand rifle was the standard weapon of the American infantrymen. General George S. Patton, famously, called it the greatest battle implement ever devised. Its semi-automatic fire gave U.S. troops a major advantage over enemies still using bolt-action rifles. The M1923 cartridge belt formed the core of a soldier's equipment. Made of strong canvas, it featured 10 pockets that carried .30 Tiaza-6 ammunition, clips for the M1 Garand, ensuring the rifle stayed supplied during combat. The M1 1928 haversack was far more complex than a typical backpack. This canvas system carried rations, clothing, and personal equipment. If it was opened incorrectly, all the contents could easily spill out. For the amphibious landing, soldiers were issued the M1926 inflatable flotation belt, often called the life belt. By squeezing 2 trigger handles, soldiers could inflate it, with CO2 cartridges if they ended up in deep water. The M7 rubberized assault gas mask bag was specially designed for the Normandy invasion. Made from waterproof rubberized material, it was worn across the chest to keep the gas mask dry while moving through the surf. A gas detection brassard was worn on the arm. This treated paper sleeve would change color, turning pink or red, if it detected chemical agents like blister gas in the air. The M1 bayonet, housed in its scabbard, featured a 10-inch blade that could attach to the end of the M1 Garand. It served both as a combat weapon and as a practical tool for tasks like opening crates. The M1910 entrenching tool, a T-handled shovel, was the standard digging tool before folding versions appeared. While awkward to carry, it was essential for digging foxholes when artillery shells began falling. The M1910 entrenching tool carrier was a canvas holder attached to the haversack, using a leather strap to secure the shovel handle so it wouldn't swing around while moving. The M1910 aluminum canteen was crucial for hydration. This kidney-shaped bottle held about 1 quart of water, which sometimes tasted slightly metallic or like the purification tablets added inside. Attached beneath it was the M1910 canteen cup, a stainless steel cup used for heating food, making coffee, or even shaving. A simple tool with many purposes. The M1910 canteen cover was a canvas pouch that held both the canteen and cup. Its felt lining could be soaked with water, allowing evaporation to keep the water inside cooler. The M1942 first aid pouch was a small but critical item mounted on the web belt. It carried basic medical supplies that soldiers could use to treat wounds immediately during battle. Inside the pouch was the Carlisle Model First Aid Dressing Tin, a small metal container holding sterile bandages and sometimes sulfa powder used to help prevent infection in open wounds. The Mk2 fragmentation grenade, often called the pineapple grenade, was a heavy cast-iron explosive designed to clear enemy trenches, bunkers, and defensive positions. The 8-round Ian block ammo clips were central to the Garand's operation. Each steel clip held 8 rounds, and when the last shot was fired, the clip automatically ejected with the rifle's famous metallic ping. A plyofilm waterproof rifle cover protected the weapon during the beach landing. This plastic cover kept sand and salt water away from the rifle's mechanism, and soldiers could even fire through it if needed. The M1932 Meat Can Mess kit was the standard field eating kit. This oval metal pan had 2 sections and was used whenever soldiers had access to hot meals behind the lines. The M1910 meat can pouch was a canvas pocket that carried the mess kit and utensils, usually strapped to the haversack to prevent the metal from rattling. The K-ration box provided a soldier's daily combat meal. Packed in wax-coated cardboard, it contained small tins of meat, biscuits, coffee, and cigarettes, just enough energy to keep troops fighting. The D-ration chocolate bar was meant strictly for emergencies. Designed to resist melting in heat, it was extremely dense and hard, often requiring soldiers to cut small pieces with a knife to eat it. The TL-1222 flashlight, recognizable for its angled crook-neck shape, clipped onto suspenders for hands-free use and sometimes included colored filters for signaling at night. U.S. Army dog tags consisted of 2 stainless steel identification tags worn on a beaded chain. They listed the soldier's name, serial, number, blood type, and religion, serving as identification in both life and death. Standard wool socks might have been simple, but they were essential. Keeping socks clean and dry was the best defense against trench foot, a painful condition caused by prolonged exposure to wet conditions. Finally, the M5 assault gas mask was a compact version issued specifically for the Normandy landings. Lighter and flatter than earlier masks, it was designed to protect soldiers from potential chemical attacks during the invasion.